Welcome to a Community Partners interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Lily Saragini, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Julia Holmes from My Life My Way Niagara. My Life My Way is dedicated to enabling the quality of life for individuals with developmental disabilities in the Niagara region, promoting their autonomy and facilitating their active participation in the community. Their commitment to personalized and person-centered care and comprehensive support services remains unwavering. Thank you for joining us today, Julie.
Thank you.
So, Julie, could you tell us a little bit more about you and what inspired you to work at My Life My Way Niagara?
I'd say for most of my life, I've been involved with people that have developmental disabilities. When I was younger, my mother was kind of like a foster parent. So she would take in younger children that were maybe in between group homes or in between foster homes. Sometimes we'd have the child for like 2 or 3 days living with us. We did have one young lady that lived with us for, I think, about 7 years. So as I was coming out of high school and thinking about what to do next, I wasn't quite sure. So I just went in. I was doing office work for a while, but still doing like passport work and things like that with other people and helping families out. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to school and do this because it's where my heart is. And from then on, I worked probably 17 plus years with different agencies in different programs. I'm the type of personality that I truly believe that you never stop learning. There's always something out there that you can learn, that you can experience. So I never really backed down from a challenge when I was working, and got a lot of experience with day programming and opening residential programs and transitional age youth. And I kind of got to the point in my life where I was like, you know what? I think I want to do my own thing. I'm very, very focused on person-centered supports, giving people the lives that they want to have. I'm sorry that people out there have to make a choice, especially in regards to residential programming. I think there needs to be a huge shift, and I think people need to be able to choose who they live with and where they live. So it was just things like that kind of brought me to this point. In 2023 is when I opened my business. And it was with that mindset that I was going to, make a change in people's lives, help them get experiences that they've wanted to get in their community. I think it's been a little over a year that I've opened a respite home, and which is highly needed in this area. And even through the respite home, when I've been able to have 2 people at the respite home, they've been able, both occasions, they've been able to form like a friendship. And when they're booking their next respite, they're always asking me, is she going to be there? I want to come when she's coming. So I think that's really exciting.
That is for sure. It sounds like you're in high demand.
It's picking up. It's just me. I'm hoping someday I'll be in a position to hire, especially administration, because paperwork is crazy.
Tell me about it. I saw that you have a couple of services that you offer. Can you tell us a little bit more about those services?
Certainly. So I have probably a list of about 40 people that regularly come out to community events. So what I do intakes with people, and I have 2 questions on the intake form. One is, what is your top 5 favorite things in your life? And the other is, what are top 5 things that you don't like? And I definitely use that to kind of investigate what's going on out there. So I have one lady who loves food and loves to go to like community festivals, fairs, things like that. So one year I took a small group to a Greek festival in St. Catharines, and there was music and dancing and of course Greek food. And I have people who like to go to concerts. So I regularly look for like their type of music that they like. the circus, you name it, Safari Niagara. But I definitely gauge it on people's likes. And then at the same time, kind of keep, awareness of what they don't like. So obviously, if somebody doesn't like heights or doesn't like, crowds of people, they're probably not going to enjoy, a busy concert or something like that. So definitely community events, and I take small groups. I just have my own SUV, so I can maybe fit 4 or 5 people comfortably in it. But there's been events that I've sent out where I've had a lot of people. And I do have self-employed contractors that I can call on and say, hey, can you help me bring some people to this event? So that has happened a couple of times. I also have right now about 16 people that I help brokerage their passport funding, hence where all the paperwork comes from. I cover pretty much the Niagara region. I'm not opposed to going as far as like Grimsby, Stony Creek, if it's cost effective for me. I do have a lot of people actually that I work with that are in St. Catharines area. I had mentioned before, I've got the respite home, which is in Fort Erie. It's a beautiful 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home, and it's very spread out. So right now, I have a young man that's home sharing at the front of the house, completely separate. He doesn't require any type of supports whatsoever. And I have somebody temporarily in the basement area. And then the main floor is 2-bedroom, 2-bath that I primarily use for respite. I have also scheduled cooking classes out of the respite home, which was a lot of fun. We made, our focus was making things from scratch. So we made our own pizza dough, and then we made our own pizza, and we obviously enjoyed a meal together. So that was a lot of fun. I also help with supported vacations. So this is something that I used to do a lot when I worked for agencies. We would plan vacations and take groups of people out. So last summer, I took, I think there was about 11 of us up north for a week. Yeah. I'm also...
You have a lot to go.
I do. I've been requested to do some person-centered plans. So when person-centered planning became like a big name in Niagara, all of the local agencies sent 1 or 2 people from their agency to get trained as a trainer so that they could come back and train the frontline staff. So I was one of the people chosen to go and do that. So that's definitely something that I've stayed as involved in as I can, because I truly believe in that. And I've had a couple of people that, have decided that they want to use their passport funding to get a person-centered plan, which I thoroughly enjoyed doing.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're talking about the respite homes, and I'm like thinking here, it's very important for us to have our own space. Like, I value that for myself even, and it's a matter of independence and dignity, quite frankly. So the model of you can live upstairs on your own and have your own space, or you can live downstairs on your own and have your own space. I find that to be quite important. Like, I'm a huge proponent of the independent living movement.
I totally agree with you 100%. 100%. There needs to be a lot more flexibility and a lot more creative things as far as accommodations go. And I know it's happening. I know, like, I've heard of different areas in Ontario where, parents are getting together and they're buying a house. And then they're kind of, they're deciding who's going to live with their son or daughter. And I'm involved with P4P, Parents for Planning, and I've been able to meet two or three families through that agency. And that is their goal, is eventually they are going to leave their house. Mom and dad are going to, find another house or rent another house, and they're going to leave their grown children in the house. And so I met with those families to kind of talk to them about what that would look like. And they're not at that point right now, but they were asking whether I would be in a position to kind of manage or oversee that house, interview staff, make sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, make sure the bills are paid, all that kind of stuff. And of course, like I've done that for so long now, that would be, I said to him, absolutely. And I really, really like that concept that, you know, their kids, their grown kids get to stay in their home, right?
So important, so important. And I love that it's becoming second nature to a lot of organizations just to think of us as, yes, you have to have independent space.
Mm-hmm.
That is very good. So when it comes to assigning supports or resources, what's the process for determining what supports or resources are required?
So my referrals, I either get directly like from word of mouth. And I also get a DSO also refers me to a lot of families. I have a couple of families in St. Catharines that kind of knew each other, and then because I've worked in the field for a while, I have some people that know me from working for agencies that have referred some families. So my first step is to obviously meet the person, right? Whether they're not everybody on my caseload has active parental involvement. So, sometimes I'm meeting that person directly. Sometimes I'm meeting that person and a parent or a caregiver. And like I had mentioned, I do the standard intake. So kind of getting to know that person, getting to know what they're interested in, like what I can do for them, whether it's providing respite, whether they just want, notification of any community events. Do they want me to help them manage passport? I've even met with families that were just kind of looking for some guidance, like how do I do this? So, there's been a couple of times where I've worked with families that have, a child that's going to be turning 18, and they're like overwhelmed, like how do I get them on ODSP? How do I get them passport funding? Where do I go? Where is their day programs? And it's interesting that in 2025, people don't realize the wait lists that are out there. And it's sometimes just a shocker for a family. And I think more and more families are understanding that, if they put their son or their daughter on a wait list for a residential program, that it's not going to happen anytime soon. They're not going to get placed. I actually think the ministry is probably letting them know there's going to be a wait period. And once again, that's why I think it's so important for, people to get together and kind of figure out what else can you do? Because
the government will not come through. There's no point in asking. There's no point in expecting. It's almost to the point now where you have to have your child's name down for independent living the moment they're born.
Exactly, which is ridiculous.
The wait lists are that ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I didn't mention that I'm a twin. My sister had Down syndrome. She just passed away earlier this year. But I remember,
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I remember my mother always telling me that when we were born in a small town hospital, that the doctor said, she's going to be too difficult to take care of. You need to put her in an institution. And my mother was just like totally overwhelmed. And back then, I'm aging myself here, where there was a lot looser, I guess, confidentiality policies, word got out that there was a mother with twins, and the one twin had Down syndrome. And two parents from that local agency came to visit my mother. And they said to her, you need to take her home and you need to see for yourself. And I will never forget that story, because I always think to myself, what would my life look like without her? Like if if my mom would have put her in an institution or in a group home, like it would not have looked like it has so far. And it's unfortunate that, like in today's day and age, I don't think that can happen. I don't think parents from, a board from an agency or advocates can go into a hospital and say, hi, my name's Julie Holmes, and I think you should take your child home, as opposed to putting them in foster care or whatever. So I don't know.
We cannot, but people's friends and family can. The most important part of desegregation, quite frankly, and we were segregated for decades and decades and decades in this country. The most important part of desegregation now is that we are becoming known. Our lives, our experiences are becoming known because we're visible. Hi, we exist. You can see us. We're right here. And the more people know, the more closely they become related to us, the more friends we have, the more allies we have, so forth.
When I do community outings or community, I hate that word, community events, community outings, it's interesting because like I'll take people to like a paint night or a plant workshop or something like that. I got a lot of people who enjoy doing that type of hands-on crafty stuff. And quite often I will have the organizers say, oh, pull together a group and, I'll do a workshop for your group. And that is not what I want. Like, I want to go to a greenhouse, sit with other people in a workshop. In fact, the one time I went to a greenhouse for like a Christmas plant workshop or whatever. And I had, I think, I don't know, 4 or 5 people with me. And so I said, okay, you guys go in and get a seat. So they kind of went with one of the staff, and I kind of stayed back to pay for the tickets. But at the same time, I did it on purpose. And then when I got back to the area where they were doing the workshop, everybody was all spread out, which was awesome. So I found the last empty chair and sat down, and they had already started talking. The one lady was talking to one of the ladies I brought. She's like, oh, where are you from? Oh my gosh, that's where I live. Oh, and they're going on and on and on. And that's what I want. Like, I don't want, here comes Julie and her group. I don't want that. I want people to go out and meet other people and have side conversations and maybe tell jokes and have fun. And, because that's a huge part of the experience. It's just, I don't want to go out and enjoy an evening and I'm the only person that they've talked to, or I'm the only person that's talked to them. So, and we've had a lot of fun doing that. Like, I to date, I have not had a bad experience with anybody like disrespecting anybody that I've brought. If anything, people have been very open, which is very, very nice to see.
To see people with disabilities as one body, as a collective, and I mean that in the negative sense, that's not good. I prefer individuation because we are individual people with individual bodies and experiences. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, here's the group of, pardon my pejorative, but disableds. I call us disableds, like, here's the group of them. What do we do for this special group? Yeah, and it's very classist, it's very ableist, it's very childish, actually. I find that approach childish. It's like, let us spread out, get to know one another, get to know our home and our community, and let other people know us. Just talk like real people, because we are. Love that. Are there any restrictions to the services at My Life, My Way, such as age, disability type, caregivers, or family members only, things of that nature?
I wish I was more accessible. I've had some people contact me for the respite home that do have some accessibility barriers. I was just thinking of this the other day. I was involved. I think it was called Safe at Home. I had a representative come to my house to kind of help me make my house a bit more accessible for my sister. And I was thinking I might call them and see if they would come to the respite house, because I do think I can make some changes to it to help it become a little bit more accessible. But that's definitely something that, respite is hard to find off the bat, let alone now if you're looking for accessible respite. And along with that would come a vehicle. I drive an SUV, and some people have a hard time getting in that. So that would be a bonus. And like I had mentioned a little bit earlier, as I get busier and busier, like I am definitely going to have to figure, I can't do everything. So I'm definitely going to have to figure out finding some help, preferably with the paperwork. Because I always think to myself, I don't mind doing it, but I could be doing a lot more important things if I was out there, out of the office.
You need to start a
So,
collective in the positive sense. Who's here? Who's here? Whose sticky little fingers can I get all over this needless paperwork? Without using any names, could you share a success story with me?
tried to narrow it down. I did not with My Life My Way, but I did work with a young lady that I still maintain contact with, um, who was not in a good position. Um, a lot of calls to 911 because she'd be threatening suicide, and then of course admissions to hospital. I think the year that I started working with her, I want to say she had anywhere from like 12 to 14 hospital admissions. Um, I was able to find appropriate housing for her. So at that time, we were trying to find rentals for her in a small town. So, once you get evicted, 3, 4, or 5 times, landlords start to talk, and then it becomes a little bit harder to find accommodation. So, the agency that I worked for at the time, we were able to open a program that was kind of like 6 or 7 like bachelor apartments. So everybody had their own entrance. And then one of those units was used as an office. And so she moved in there. She didn't require a lot of support. I was able to get an invite to, I don't remember what the name of the group is called, but it was basically a group of people that came from both the developmental sector and mental health. So I was able to sit at a meeting and kind of present this woman's situation, because for the longest time, she was just bouncing back and forth. So, mental health would say she's got a developmental disability, you need to deal with it. And we were saying, no, she's got like a severe mental health diagnosis, like we need your help. And that was a success because finally the two groups got together and I was able to provide them with a very accurate picture of what this poor woman, was struggling with. They got other services from mental health involved. I don't even think at the time she had a psychiatrist. I think it was just her family doctor that was scripting her medications. But we pretty much surrounded her with a team. And once we did that, no more suicidal thoughts, no more admissions to hospital. She started going out. She started taking better care of herself. She started making friends. Yeah, like her whole life just turned around. But it was because of that team. And, so many people just need that. What I said earlier, like we got to stop trying to fit people into a program, right? With her, it was always back and forth. No, she's got a developmental disability. Community living has to deal with it. No, she's got mental health. We need CMHA to help. Like people aren't, people are involved. And sometimes you need to build a support group around that person for them to advance, for them to, start to feel some type of empowerment in their life.
Absolutely. Like I say, I use the word individuation a lot. We are individuals. Do not treat us as a collective or as a set of symptoms, because that belies the nature of individuation. We have minds and experiences, and we need one another as well. Without a steady support from your communities, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then finding the right kind of care for different people, because individuation, it can't be a one-shot solution. It just can't. That's where it feels like statistics just fail utterly. I
agree with you 100%.
What is the one thing, I love this question, what is the one thing you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that should not be, and how do we stop it?
The thing that strikes home with me is loneliness. And I hear that so often, right? I have a group of people that I've worked with in the past that, like I had mentioned, I still maintain contact with. And, you know, a couple of them had like they call me and they say, hey, can we talk? And I say, yeah, no problem. I got some time. What's up? You know, what are you doing? Got any plans for the weekend? You know, a typical conversation that anybody would have with a family member or with a friend. And more often than not, they thank me. And I say, what are you thanking me for talking to me? And I said, you never have to thank me for talking to you. I said, you know, you're human. I'm a human. I care about you. And if you need somebody to talk to, you know, and they tell me I'm lonely, right? They're bored. People, I think, are social by nature and want to go out there and want to meet people. And I think a lot of people that, you know, have a developmental disability or disability kind of feel isolated, like you had mentioned. Like it's not always really easy for them to go out. Maybe they can't go out by themselves. Maybe they don't even know what's out there. A wonderful, absolutely marvelous resource in St. Catharines is First Ontario Performing Arts Center. Unbelievable, accessible. Their staff, I can't even find the words. I take people a lot to different things there, and I've never had a bad experience whatsoever. They are very, very accommodating. They are very respectful. They also, I don't know if they're employees or if they're volunteers, but they do hire people with developmental disabilities and physical disabilities. And the good thing about that also is there's a program called the Access To program through Easter Seals. So if somebody pays to get an Access To card and goes to different venues in, I think it's like Canada-wide, their staff can either get in for free, their support staff can get in for free or get reduced rates. So performing arts is one of those venues, which is another reason why I go there quite often, because when I'm doing like a group event, everybody kind of shares my cost of supports and my cost of mileage, which kind of brings the price down. So if they don't have to pay to share my cost of a ticket, I can make community events pretty, you know, affordable. And not everybody gets a lot of funding from the ministry through Passport. Typically, when you turn 18 and you're on the Passport list, they give you $5,500, which doesn't last.
Not in this economy.
Yeah. I've been able to work with 3 different families to get increases in their passports. So it is doable. Not an easy thing to do, but, you know, if you can make a recommendation and kind of give the Passport program, you know, a good picture of what this person is dealing with and what this family is struggling with, a lot of times you can get that increase.
I mean, people are not intrinsically cruel. It's just I don't trust the government with money, you know? Yeah, loneliness is, in fact, I feel it is the issue. Like isolation can lead to suicidality. That's an issue, as you mentioned. So,
and not only just like people lonely for friends, but I mean, even people that want to have a relationship, that want to have
yeah, exactly,
a partner. And it's like, you know, not necessarily going online is the best place to meet people, whether you have a disability or whether you don't.
I mean, it's never the best way to date.
How else do you do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I've only tried it once. Never doing that again. Are there any events coming up for My Life My Way?
I am going to start planning. So what I usually do is I try to plan anywhere from like 2 to 3 months at a time. So that, and then I do up a flyer and I also post it on my Facebook page and I post it on my website. And then that way, people who do have limited budget or, you know, limited monies can kind of pick and choose and kind of budget for the events. When I plan an event, all of it is usually covered by passport funding. And if a person, like if there's like food involved or a meal afterwards, then I will put right on the event flyer, please bring money for lunch, or, please bring money if you want to buy a drink or whatever. So I'm just waiting for the Christmas holidays to kind of wrap up. And then I'm going to be probably planning for January, February, March events. I do have regular people who come in for respite. So that's probably going to be starting to get booked in the new year. So I don't have anything specifically planned. We haven't done like a paint night in a while, so I wouldn't mind doing that. I've had some people ask about a pottery workshop. I took a couple of guys to Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we did that, the whole, where you pump and the pottery spins and you get your hands in there. That was a lot of fun. There's another place that I took people to where you make your own pasta.
Lovely.
Dish. So definitely want to do that again.
She's Italian. She loves the pasta.
Yeah. And I've had, like I mentioned, we ran, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, we ran like a little cooking class. So I've had some people ask to do that again also.
Please help them make health food. I took a cooking class, or I volunteered in a cooking class just ages ago, and it was all just crap. Ugh.
Oh, no. I try to cook as much as possible from like scratch. Truly, like it used to, when I worked with some families that didn't have a lot of money, they'd go out and do grocery shopping, and it would be sugar cereal and Kraft dinner and hot dogs, and then they'd complain about how they don't have any money, and I'd be like, well, yeah, it would be a heck of a lot cheaper for you to buy pasta and cheese and some milk and butter and mix it all together than that box of Kraft dinner.
Actually, yes.
Right? I think some people just maybe aren't raised with. My mother was a good cook, so we ate well. Yeah, no, we did with the last cooking class. We made the homemade pizza. What else did we do? We made chicken and beef burritos with like rice and salsa and onions and stuff in there. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And it was the group that decided what we were going to make.
That is good. Absolutely. Cool. Again, autonomy. Like even especially about too, what we put in our bodies. Junk in, junk out, good in, good out. No? So, okay, this is a bit of a long-winded question, but if someone wanted to get more information about you guys or to become a member or a volunteer with My Life My Way, what's the process?
Email would probably be the best. I do have a cell phone, but I don't always have it the ringer turned on. It's another pet peeve of mine is if I'm out doing one-on-one contracts, which I have a couple of people that I work one-on-one, and they're paying me to work with them, I feel it's rude and disrespectful for me to, be on my phone. Right? Sometimes if I'm expecting a very important phone call, I will ask if it's okay. If this person calls, can I answer it? And that's what I would want people to do.
Yeah, basic courtesy.
If I was in their situation. Yeah, so I mean, either calling my phone, as long as they don't mind leaving a message, I will get back to them, or emailing me. My email is mylifemyWayNiagara@gmail.com. So I'm pretty good at getting back with phone messages and emails.
Thank you. All right. So last question. What is the one thing that everyone needs to know about My Life My Way?
I would say that it is person-centered. I'm a very honest person. So, if, my respite house is a rental house, can't afford to own 2 houses. And so I've had some people approach me looking for respite that have some aggressive tendencies, maybe environmental damage. And I've been very honest and have said, I would love to help, but I can't take that responsibility because this isn't my house. And, I can't be worrying about people kicking drywall in and things like that. So I think that's good. I'm a family of, I was a caregiver for many years with my sister. I appreciate when people are honest. So I relay that same respect to families that I'm working with. And yeah, I mean, families and people supported need to know that, like we talked about, they're on a wait list for accommodations. It's going to be a very long time. Not even just accommodations, even like day programming and things like that, right?
Yep.
But yeah, and I mean, I'm not opposed. I've also had some people approach me that I did not feel that I could give them the best supports, and I've given them information for other resources, and I've encouraged them, shop around. Like it's so important. Don't think that you need to go to this one program because it's where you live. Like look around, see what else is out.
Sure.
For me, it's not, I mean, I'm a small business. So for me, it's not about, oh my gosh, I need more people, I need more income coming in. I mean, it's nice. But I'm not looking to get rich. I'm just happy because I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. I'm working with people that I enjoy working with. And yeah, I'm having just as much fun as they're having when we're out doing different stuff. So, hey,
Absolutely. No, I love that. It's fulfillment. It's fulfillment. Money is not fulfillment.
can't complain.
People is fulfillment.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Julie.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
You have been listening to a Community Partners interview on V4A Radio. I'm your host, Lily Saragini, and remember, folks, stick together because we are all in this together.